Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Putt.
Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome back to First Contact Radio. Today is Friday, the 15th of April. 15th of April right here. Our sun sign is in Aries, where it is for the next 4 days, and then it transitions over to the next sun sign, which would be Taurus. So we're wrapping things up in Aries, and our moon sign today is in Leo. So both Aries and Leo are fire signs. These are the tarot cards that are representative. Remember, these are just pictures. Remember, tarot just pictures. It's not works of the devil. It's not anything negative, bad. They're just pictures that represent things. The negative values get assigned to all of these type of cards by people who misuse and misunderstand what this is about. Okay? You look at a stop sign when you drive and you understand that it's a symbol that means something. So this is a symbol. It means he who sets an order. Hebrew letter He. It's all about the organizing principle of the universe. That as things are created and made manifest into the reality, there is an organizing principle that looks at things to make sure that they're done properly, organized in the proper way. If they're organized in the proper way, the emperor, ruled by Mars, moves along. All that energy was very creative and passionate. If things aren't organized properly, and that continues to happen, frustration gets into the mix, and therefore the emperor starts to lean towards the more aggressive side of what Mars is all about, as opposed to the more creative side. So again, it's all about how energy is used. We have another sun sign. This is our moon sign, Leo. Leo is all about allowing the creative spirit within ourselves to come forward, while at the same time we have to learn to tame that animal nature within us. You see, we all are the beasts. The reason we're all the beasts is because when we go back to the story of the Garden of Eden, the book of Genesis, and we understand that story that humankind was created from the ground, from the dirt, from the earth, created by a being who we now know, thanks to the apocryphal texts and gospels, that this being was the fallen one. We were created in a state of ignorance, by a being that was ignorant of the full connections that we had available to us, and therefore that ignorance was passed on to us. We were the beast creatures. That's why you hear the story or the phrase, the spirit is willing but the flesh is weak. It's because our spirit comes from God, the great creator of all things, whereas the physical body came from a being who wasn't the full aspect of God, but thought that he was, and created the body simply to trap that spirit which he didn't understand. Okay, so we need to raise and rise above our animal natures, because that's what calls to us. Doesn't mean that we're supposed to ignore the physical, because we are in the physical body and there is a reason we're here. If we didn't need to be here, we wouldn't be here. But there's a purpose. And so we need to figure out what that purpose is. And certainly that purpose isn't to be in our animal nature, but to rise above it. So we all have within us this energy. It's the Kundalini energy. Resides at the bottom of the spine. It raises up during different times of our life, during different activities. And we learn to tame this energy, to work with this energy so it can be usable. Okay? So we have all this fire, this idea, this creativity around us today, the sun sign and the moon sign. We've had a couple of aspects already. The first aspect was a trine between Mars and Leo. That occurred at 1:32, and then imagination, Venus, in trine with Leo. That just occurred about 20 some minutes ago. Coming up, what we have is a square with Mercury, dealing with our communication. So maybe our passion and our communication, the way we express things, we need to look at that. There's some sort of a lesson there. And then shortly after that, Saturn wants to apply some discipline. Okay, so we learn some kind of a lesson and then we apply some discipline, but we got to try. And so there's a nice, good, positive aspect leading to that opportunity right there. As we go into the weekend, our moon sign changes from Leo to Virgo, where it will remain Saturday and Sunday. And then Monday, we're going to have the last phase, and then Tuesday, big transition. Sun sign transitions or moon sign transitions, so all kind of changes come Tuesday. Okay, the moon is 65% of the way full, making our way up to the full moon, which will be on next Thursday, 21st. And the Jewish calendar today is 7 Nisan. 7 Nisan. The daily thought for today is greatness unlimited. To some, God is great because he makes the wind blow. For others, because he projects space and time out of the void. The enlightened laugh and say he is so far beyond any of this, for his oneness remains unaltered even by the event of creation. We Jews, this is what we have always said. God is so great he stoops to listen to the prayer of a small child. He paints the petals of each wildflower and awaits us there to catch him doing so. He plays with the rules of the world which he has made to comfort the oppressed and support those who champion justice. He transcends the bounds of higher and lower. He transcends all bounds. Dreamspell Oracle, it's the last day of the wave spell of the serpent, the life force energy that flows through us. Today is the day we're going to jump off. We have the navigation of the earth, synchronicity, navigation. So we're going to jump off, having gone through this whole period of time learning the lesson of our life force energy that flows through us. And now we're going to jump off with that knowledge of the last 13 days. The phrase for today is I endure in order to evolve, transcending synchronicity. I seal the matrix of navigation with the cosmic tone of presence. I'm guided by the power of earth. So today is the cosmic earth guided by the dragon. Hidden power. Right down here is the seed, our ability to plant seeds. Like-minded energy is the wind, inspiration, and the hand is our challenge for today, what we will accomplish, what we're going to do with our hands. Solar wind currently at 366.7 kilometers per second. Planetary K index. Quiet at the moment, unsettled over the next 24 hours. Definitely have some coronal holes in the sun here going to be affecting us on Earth. We have the large one at the bottom, this large one at the top here. M-class flare possibilities at 15%. X-class is at 1%. Geomagnetic storm activity is subsiding in the mid-latitudes, going from 35 down to 20. In the upper latitudes, 45 down to 25. Remember, we did have a storm that was going on. It has subsided temporarily, but it looks like it is going to be picking back up. And finally, up in the sky tonight, the 15th of April, we've got our moon here, almost a full moon. Look to the left of the moon. Here you got Leo. The moon this evening forms a gently curving row with its left Regulus and then bright Jupiter. Okay, so moon, Regulus, Jupiter. That's what we're looking for tonight. And there you go. That's the cosmic weather. So lots of ideas, lots of fire, lots of creativity in the air. What are we going to do with the creativity? I guess that's up to us. But just be open-minded to the opportunities that present themselves today. Because where there is creativity, there is an opportunity to create. All right, UFO News is up next.
This is the UFO News. with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much. Today, the first story comes to us from the Sun. This took place on the 12th. Here's our Sun object and the object in question right there. Let's see. Here's a long UFO near our Sun this week. It's from Moonhausen74 of YouTube. He says, "We can see the stars, but we do not see the sun. Humans could not absorb this effect because it was a disappearance of the sun for a moment and the sun reappears in space. This was a time that he felt that the man on the planet Earth, but the effect was able to photograph the solar mass observatory sun, a hologram, alien technology, the impact of the UFO, our sun in our solar system, a set of values. The sun is the source of light and the sun is the source of heat. It's the portal in the galaxy. It's the beacon. The sun is a gas station. The sun is a place for silicon life. What do we know about the sun? Nothing. Sun, hologram, maybe." All right, so obviously lots of questions about what the sun is. And within this article here, certainly much speculation. I mean, we've heard everything from the sun being an energizer. We've seen objects up there that seem to be energizing off of the sun as if it's a gas station. We've seen images of the sun where there's been large holes in the sun, large triangle. Remember that one a couple of years ago? That one certainly signifies and ties into the idea that the sun is a doorway. And then there's certainly those who think that what's coming off of the sun is not what we're told, that there's a different sort of energetic, that it's not just heat that's being given off. So a lot to sun. Our scientists don't completely know, even though they claim that they do. When you read the stories about their confusions and bewilderments, you realize that they don't have all of the answers. Okay. Moving on to the next story here. This story was a giant white disk that was above Cusco, Peru, the 13th of April. On the morning of April 13th, an unidentified flying object was sighted by villagers in the town of Pucuya in Vilcabamba or Cusco. Paul Puma was the eyewitness who managed to get this video and ensures that it was something never before seen in the area. I managed to film it at approximately 07:30 hours, but the object was flying over the Hasbata very early. Sometimes it approached and moved away from where we were, and it would not emit any kind of sound from one moment to another and disappeared in the clouds. So these are the exact same UFOs that I reported back in 2011 on the 25th of August. Got a link to those. All right, that's a nice, good image there of some sort of a light ship. Okay, very interesting. Moving on. Daytime UFO over Evora, Portugal. Looks like we have multiple UFOs. I just received this interesting footage of an unidentified flying object, orbs flying over Portugal city, Evora. This was taken on Wednesday the 13th. Okay, so videos will. Sometimes it's first tracks. All right, so that's pretty much what we got right here. All right, all right, moving on. Moving on. Here we have a video. Next two are both videos for you to watch over the weekend because they are a bit lengthy. Not too long, but enough. This first one explores the ideas of UFOs and undersea UFO bases. Okay, we've certainly seen the images. So from the Baltic Sea UFO or image that's down there. Says a nice documentary about underwater bases and UFOs. A lot of details in it. UFO TV states after publishing an article in Fate magazine and a live appearance in the History Channel special, both of them focused on unidentified submerged objects, USOs. Author and UFO researcher Preston Dennett received a flood of emails and letters from eyewitnesses detailing many dramatic USO cases that have never been revealed before. Along the way, he discovered the Southern California coast is one of the world's most active areas for undersea USO reports that date back to the late 40s and continue to this day. After years of research, Preston Dennett has come to the starting conclusion that there is an undersea UFO base in the Santa Catalina Channel, located along the U.S. Pacific coast. In this presentation, he will present the results of his investigation into the USO situation around the world, includes evidence of government surveillance, USOs, and ensuing cover-up photographs of USOs and UFOs. It's a visual presentation of eyewitness accounts. Preston Dennett is a MUFON certified UFO field investigator and author of over 16 books and 100 published essays on UFOs, USOs, and alien encounters. Okay, and here's the video itself. It's 1 hour, 15 minutes, and 24 seconds. So check it out, check it out, check it out. And one last piece here, Area 51, the Untold Story, and the 25-year history. Emmy Award-winning journalist George Knapp is considered the first reporter to break the story of extraterrestrial technology at a secret test facility known as Area 51. In his presentation, George will discuss the mystery surrounding Area 51, 25 years after breaking the story, and he will provide never-before-heard details from Bob Lazar, the man who claimed to have worked on extraterrestrial spacecraft at Area 51. George Knapp is the chief investigative reporter for CBS News in Las Vegas, where he has earned the highest honors in broadcast journalism. He's a two-time Peabody Award winner, as well as a 24-time Emmy Award-winning journalist, whose reporting on the Nevada's infamous Area 51 military base was selected by UPI as the best individual achievement by a reporter. And here's a video, 1 hour and 9 minutes. So, there you go. You got plenty of video for the weekend about USOs, UFOs, and Area 51. So, plenty to keep you busy. There's over 2 hours of fun and excitement for you right there. Okay? That is it for the UFO news. I'll be back. How about if we, let's do with Wake Up. I always like Wake Up. Well, wake up. Wake up. Wake up.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People shouldn't be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of them.
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Patriots arise. It's time to demand the truth.
All right. So, why did I play the wake up song again for the millionth time? Well, not a millionth, but because we need to wake up, my friends. Okay? Many of you are here because you have awoken. Many of you are here learning, as I am learning, about what's going on because there's so many things that are becoming more available to us to understand and learn. And many of us here go out into the world and we deal with friends and families and acquaintances and so on, and we deal with all of these issues, and we run into a lot of people who aren't awake. And so it's very, very important. We hear the term all the time, but what's the point of being awake? What is it that we are not awake about? So here's a good example. I think that what is happening here in America during this political season, during this election cycle, I think it's very significant. But in order to understand it, we need to step away from the process. We need to step away from the labels and the terms Democrat and Republican or liberal and conservative, and we just need to look at Americans. Because it doesn't matter what color you are here in America, whether you're red, white, black, yellow, brown, doesn't matter. You're all Americans. Okay? In America, we have rules that we have set up over the years. Rules because we are a republic. The United States of America is a constitutional republic. Republic being rule of the law. What is the rule of the law that we follow? The Constitution. So we are a constitutional republic. Now I know that we hear the word democracy thrown around a lot. But democracy is not what we are. Democracy is mob rule. Democracy is 51% dictate to the other 49% what's going to happen. That's not what we were set up as. So when we hear people saying, we're a democracy, first thing you realize is that person doesn't understand the actual form of government that we are. A republic, ruled by law. And the problem is, the laws are out of whack. And when people in America don't pay attention to what the laws or the rules are, then those who are imposing those laws and rules will continue to move forward, not worrying about what the person thinks about. Case in point, our election process here in America. For a long, long, long time, there's been those like myself and others who have paid attention and have been saying, our votes don't count the way the system is set up. And yet most Americans would not believe that one bit. And they go year after year and they go to the polls and they vote. And then year after year, the ones that people vote for don't get put into office. And people don't think twice about it. Because the system, as you keep hearing, is completely rigged. It's been rigged for a long, long while. We know about the stories of Bush and the elections he stole. We know about the election Obama stole. We know about the election problems that occurred during the Clinton time and the other Bush time. I mean, on and on and on. Problems, problems, problems. We hear about continual theft that's taking place and, these machines which are not working right or are switching votes over. I mean, one after another. It's an absolute corrupt system. But the reason it has gotten to be such a corrupt system is because Americans have fallen asleep at the wheel and have stopped checking to make sure the people running the system are doing it properly. So even though we've gone through a period of time where people have voted and not realized that their vote wasn't being properly counted, we continue to go through this process like Pavlov's dog. But now here it is, 2016, and we have the conversation happening that the system is rigged. And some people are saying, oh, that's just, spoiled grapes. He's just complaining because he needs to complain. No, this is the way the system is. People need to wake up to see this because this has been going on. And as long as Americans choose not to pay attention to it, the system will continue to cheat the American people. So what do? Do we just not do anything? Do we not go vote? Do we not participate? Well, that doesn't help because that just feeds itself right into the hand of those who are the establishment individuals, which are trying to push you away. We need to show up. But just showing up isn't enough because we know that they are not properly counting our vote. So we need to stand up and demand that our voices be heard properly. We have to work really diligently to make sure that what we as Americans want is adhered to. We have to learn to stop putting the criminals and the corrupt individuals in power. Right now, the way I see it, we have a situation in America where we are so used and conditioned to having to choose between candidates that are the lesser of two evils that that's all that we've expected we're able to do. And now we have a candidate who's in the running who keeps saying we can win, we can win, we can win. And Americans who are so dumbed down, so pushed down into believing we can only choose the lesser of two evils are asking, we can win? What do you mean we can? No one's told us we could win. What do you mean we could win? And we could keep winning again and again and again? And that kind of information is the thing that's the problem because it's causing the conflict because people are so conditioned and beaten down that people don't know how to win. So the moment that it suggests that you can win, that we can win, does not compute because that breaks the programming. Programming says we're not supposed to win, only the government is supposed to win. But now is the time, my friends, for this programming to end. Now is the time. We have to pay attention. We have to understand what is going on and how to fix this problem. One of the things that I have been amused by over this particular political season is the videos that are out there. And you can see that there's a great divide amongst the protesters. You have protesters for Bernie, which are out, doing their thing. You have the protesters for Trump. You have the plenty of non-Trump groups out there, and they seem to be all ganging up on him. And you have all of these protesters, and there's a lot of video online where you can see conversations amongst these various groups. And what I find very fascinating is that the group that's often accused of being the violent group are not being violent at all. The group that is out there supporting Trump aren't being violent at all. It's the group that is supporting Bernie that are going out there. It's the group that is supporting Black Lives Matter that is being violent. It's the group that Bill Ayers and MoveOn.org is all supporting. And George, that's where all the violence is coming from the side that says they are the kind, nice, gentle ones. They're the ones who are being violent. And you can see this over and over again. You can watch video discussions, and you could see from this perspective that there isn't any knowledge why they're mad. There's no knowledge of why these people are mad. And when you ask, it's the same old answer. They're just spouting out the sound bites that the mainstream media has given to them to spout out. That's all that they know. They don't know anything else. And it's very evident in listening to conversations that that's all that's out there, sound bites. If we're just going to listen to sound bites, then we get what we deserve. If we're not able to look past a soundbite to realize somebody is manipulating that information, then that's our own fault. But for those who are paying attention, looking past the sound bites, understanding what's going on, can start to see what is behind the system and what's taking place. And what's taking place is you have a whole system which has shown that there is no right and left, that it's one system that is out there moving in force to try to stop the person who is not part of the insider club like they are. It's very bizarre what's happening, but this is an opportunity for all Americans. So rather than fighting with each other, we need to gather ourselves together and understand who the real enemy is of Americans. It's not that Republicans and Democrats, these two groups of individuals, we're not the enemies. The enemies are those in power imposing these rules, leading you to believe we live in a democracy instead of a constitutional republic, leading you to believe that this violence is all good, leading you to believe that all the statistics about crime that we're seeing are inaccurate and we need to allow more of these refugees into the country, even though we're seeing signs of destruction in other countries from them, even though we see signs of invasion amongst their ranks. We're still being led by our supposed leaders in America that we need to accept all of this. They're tearing our country apart, my friends. There's a Muslim terrorist by the name of Obama Hussein, or Barack Hussein Obama, in office. A Muslim terrorist connected to the Muslim Brotherhood. This man is doing exactly what he said, and people are still wondering, why is Obama doing this? Because he is not a friend of America. And it's all going to come out one day. It may not happen until he leaves office, but it will come out. And Americans are going to have to deal with the fact that we've allowed our country to be usurped by a terrorist. How sad for us that we've allowed that to happen, but let's not let it happen again. Let's fix the problem so we don't have that again. Okay? Now, I went into that whole ramble right there, leading up to this article I'm going to read. This is an article. It says, "Let me ask you a question." It was posted in the Wall Street Journal. It just came out today. And it's by Donald J. Trump. This is very insightful here. On Saturday, April 9th, Colorado had an election without voters. Delegates were chosen on behalf of a presidential nominee, yet the people of Colorado were not able to cast their ballots to say which nominee they preferred. A planned vote had been canceled, and 1 million Republicans in Colorado were sidelined. In recent days, something all too predictable has happened. Politicians furiously defended the system. These are the rules, we were told over and over. If the rules can be used to block Coloradans from voting on whether they want better trade deals or special borders or to end to special interest votes bought in Congress, well, that's just a system and we should embrace it. But let me ask America a question. How has the system been working out for you and your family? I, for one, am not interested in defending a system that for decades has served the interest of political parties at the expense of the people. Members of the club, the consultants, the pollsters, the politicians, the pundits, and the special interests grow rich and powerful, while the American people grow poorer and more isolated. No one forced anyone to cancel a vote in Colorado. Political insiders made a choice to cancel it, and it was the wrong choice. Responsible leaders should be shocked by the idea that party officials can simply cancel elections in America if they don't like what the voters may decide. The only antidote to decades of ruinous rule by a small handful of elites is a bold infusion of popular will. On every major issue affecting this country, the people are right and the governing elite are wrong. The elites are wrong on taxes, on the size of government, on trade, on immigration, and foreign policy. Why should we trust the people who have made every wrong decision to substitute their will for the Americans' will in this presidential election? Good question, right? Here is where I part ways with Senator Ted Cruz. Mr. Cruz has toured the country bragging about the voterless victory in Colorado. Before a man who styles himself as a warrior against the establishment, you certainly wouldn't know it from his list of donors and endorsers, you think that he'd be demanding a vote for Coloradans. Instead, Mr. Cruz is celebrating their disenfranchisement. Likewise, Mr. Cruz loudly boasts every time party insiders disenfranchise voters in a congressional district by applauding delegates who will vote the opposite of the expressed will of the people who live in that district. That's because Mr. Cruz has no democratic path to the nomination. He has been mathematically eliminated by the voters. While I am self-funding, Mr. Cruz rakes in millions from special interests. Yet despite his financial advantage, Mr. Cruz has won only 3 primaries outside his home state and trails me by 2 million votes, a gap that will soon explode even wider. Mr. Cruz loses when people actually get to cast ballots. Voter disenfranchisement is not merely part of the crew's strategy, it is the crew's strategy. The great irony of this campaign is that the Washington cartel that Mr. Cruz rallies against is the very group he is relying upon in his voter nullification scheme. My campaign strategy is to win with the voters. Ted Cruz's campaign strategy is to win despite them. What we are seeing now is not proper use of rules, but a flagrant abuse of the rules. Delegates are supposed to reflect the decisions of voters, but the system is being rigged by party operatives with double agent delegates who reject the decision of the voters. The American people can have no faith in such a system. It must be reformed. Just as I have said that I will reform unfair trade, immigration, and economic policies that have also rigged against Americans, so too will I work closely with the chairman of the Republican National Committee and top GOP officials to reform our election policies. Together, we will restore the faith and the franchise of the American people. We must leave no doubt that voters, not donors, choose the nominee. We have gotten to the point where politicians defend a rigged delegate selection process with more passion than they've ever defended Americans' borders. Excuse me, question. It's a question mark. It says, how have we gotten to the point where politicians defend a rigged delegate selection process with more passion than they've ever defended Americans' borders? Perhaps it is because politicians care more about securing their private club than in securing their country. My campaign will, of course, battle for every last delegate. We will work within the system that exists now while fighting it to have it reformed in the future. But we will do it the right way. My campaign will seek maximum transparency, maximum representation, and maximum voter participation. We'll run a campaign based on empowering voters, not sidelining them. Let us take inspiration from patriotic Colorado citizens who have banded together in protest. Let us make Colorado a rallying cry on behalf of all the forgotten people whose desperate pleas have for decades fallen on the deaf ears and closed eyes of our rulers in Washington, D.C. The political insiders have had their way for a long time. Let 2016 be remembered as the year the American people finally got theirs. Okay? I thought this was an awesome article. Right now in Colorado, today, there are protests going on against what happened there. Americans have to stop accepting the lies. We have to stop accepting a fraudulent system. Bad things happen when good people say and do nothing. And there's a lot of good Americans sitting on the sideline saying and doing nothing. A lot of good Americans on a daily basis being told the lies about what's going on, and every day are reaffirming their belief in those lies. Because that is what told over and over. Okay? Watch the mainstream media systems of how they do things. They repeat things over and over and over again, whether it's a crawl on the bottom of the screen or the blinking flashing lights, whatever it is. It's a repetition process in order to get you to think the way that they want you to. And it works, because you will see people sit down at that TV in front of those boxes, watch, and after a few hours of that information absorbing in, will start repeating what they heard there. Despite the fact that in 1921 our media was usurped and for the last 95 years has been controlled, people will still sit in front of that box completely unaware of the control that is taking place and will allow themselves to be lied to. A lot of times people feel that's the only way to get through life. Believe the lies because there's so many of them out there. So, we need to wake up, my friends. We need to pay attention. We need to understand that we can win. Okay? We can win. We no longer have to accept the condition that we have been shown. We no longer have to accept that the lesser of two evils is our only choice. We have the choice that we can choose to win. And all we have to do is put our mindset in that. It's going to be challenging because we haven't been taught that over the years. We've been taught that we need to be subservient. We've been taught not to speak up. We've been taught to go with the flow. We've been taught that the lesser of two evils is all that we can do. But we can do much better, my friends. We can do much better. We have to believe in ourselves. So we're the ones we've been waiting for. not the politicians, us. And when we stand up here in America and we speak against the corruption, not against the Republicans, not against the Democrats, but against the true corruption which is coming from the establishment that has a stranglehold in Washington, D.C., and the rules that we are supposed to follow. When we stand up against this, watch what happens. Watch the power that we Americans realize and come to discover that we have. We'll stop fighting with ourselves, because then we'll find out where the real enemy is. And to find the real enemy these days, all we have to do is pay attention, because right now the rats are jumping the ship, and we could see them out there. We could see them scurrying and getting out of the way. They're siding with the corruption that's out there even more, or they're separating from it. Okay? The separating of the wheat from the chaff. We certainly see that happening. So it's a good thing, but we just need to stay focused. We need to be vigilant. We need to be aware of the games that are being played. And remember, they're all mind games. This is an information war. And if you don't take control of your mind, I can guarantee you there is somebody out there that certainly will take charge of it instead of you. They try to do it every day with the media that you are given and the information that you're told. It's up to you to decide. Are you going to buy into all of their programming, or are you going to buy into your own understanding? And the way you do that is you got to connect in. You got to connect inside with that spirit, because that spirit is what sets us free. Spirit sets us free. Now, here is Brother Nathaniel. I always like playing pieces by Brother Nathaniel. I think he's very insightful, and this is no different. Here we go.
They overlap and interweave with each other. Sometimes they seem to be in opposition, but the layers of Jewish power, a multi-sided force, merge into one uniform power block. Don't be fooled when they don't act in unison. Jews in the media have their own agenda, especially if they're dual citizens of Israel and the U.S. Whose side are they on anyways?
Jeffrey, I want to stick on the Republican side. Donald Trump got some praise from Vladimir Putin this week, which he seemed to like.
Yes, he did. And you know, I've been thinking about this all week. I can't recall a similar experience in which the leading candidate for one of the major parties is praising and receiving praise from a former KGB. I mean, he's a former KGB official who is the despot running an adversarial country, Russia.
Why, of course it's adversarial for Jews like Goldberg who fear the growing authority of the church in Russia. For where the Orthodox Church is strong, Jewish power grows weaker. And too bad for Goldberg that Putin was just a KGB functionary in East Germany with nothing to do but fill out reports. Yes, it's true, plenty of Jews in the media don't like Trump. They're mostly left-leaning Democrats who at times pose as Republicans. But some high-ruling Jews don't tout the script.
You told me you agree with some of the things that Donald Trump has said. You disagree with some of the things he has said. Are you endorsing him for president?
Yeah, I am. I think that we need in this country. I'm sort of being an activist in the country now. I think it's sort of a no-brainer. You can't keep it going the way it is. We're dysfunctional.
No dysfunction at AIPAC, the most powerful lobby in the world. They disprove the notion that all Jews hate Trump. For some 18,000 Jews last month gave Trump fervent cheers and standing ovations.
I came here to speak to you about where I stand on the future of American relations with our strategic ally, our unbreakable friendship, and our cultural brother, the only democracy in the Middle East, the State of Israel. Thank you. My number one priority is to dismantle the disastrous deal with Iran.
But there's another layer of Jewish power that plays its cards very close to its chest. They don't dabble in political quarrels. They don't get wound up over election debates. They don't have to, since they control America's money and care not who makes its laws or who promises the sky on campaign stumps. Stone-faced Jews at the Fed keep their cool. They can kill off a country and a president in a minute by manipulating interest rates and currency valuations. I mean, with the power to print money, loan it to the government, and charge interest on it, then the Constitution, which confers that power on Congress, becomes a scrap of paper. That's power, my friends. Power at the top that no president has. Trump can't come close. They've got him covered, not his back, but subtle pressure can do great things. It's all about making America great again, isn't it? They say blondes have more fun, and only their hairdressers know for sure. Same with America. Layers of Jewish power can do great things, and only the Jews at the top know for sure.
All right. Good message from Brother Nathaniel. You know, some may think, oh, it's anti-Semitic to pull out this information and play this information. You know what? Sometimes in life, we just observe things. We have eyes, we have ears, we observe what's going on in the world. We can observe and are aware of the different organizations people are part of. And so it's not any sort of ism to observe. It's not racist to observe the color of a person's skin. It's not racist or sexist to be aware of someone's gender. It's not anti-Semitic to understand that someone is Jewish. It's, or any of the isms that are out there. We put all these labels on ourselves to limit ourselves. We have to stop that. We have to stop labeling. We have to start understanding that we have the ability to observe, and when we observe things, we make decisions based on our observations. When our observations are faulty, or when our observations are changed because of outside influences or intimidations, then it changes decisions that we make. If we make decisions based upon fear, we get fearful results. Never works. Never has, never will. So, my friends, again, it's all up to us what we are going to do, how we are going to stand up. First thing is we have to have confidence in ourselves. Here's an article, 4 easy ways to boost your self-confidence. This is first and foremost because we can't get to the part of believing that we can win if our confidence is low. Self-confidence is the ability or the belief in yourself to accomplish any task, no matter the odds, no matter the difficulty, no matter the adversity. The belief that you can accomplish it. It's a quote by Dr. Ivan Joseph. Do you think self-confidence is something you are born with or something that requires time and practice? Here's an inspiring TED Talk to discover from an athletic director, Ivan Joseph, how you can improve the quality of your life, not only professionally, but also personally by boosting your self-confidence with 4 simple, powerful practices. Okay? So I want you to watch this video here. I'm not going to watch it now. It's 13 minutes. And I want you to watch this because it's so important, my friends, that we become self-confident. So important that we learn to appreciate ourselves individually so we can appreciate ourselves collectively. If we step back and we just think about what we have here in America, we have something that is special. If we look at the rest of the world and the population of the world, there are 7 billion people in the world. 7 billion. In America, there's only 300 million. That means there are 7 billion or 6 billion 600,000, 700,000. Okay? In the rest of the world. America is not overcrowded like some of these other countries. America is a place that has so much opportunity, and yet we are allowing ourselves to lose that opportunity and allow all of the things that make us special. We're allowing those to go away. for political correctness. We're allowing our country to be overrun by those from other countries who are trying to, one, escape a bad situation because they are so overcrowded and they do have so many problems. Those folks are coming here and wanting to bring their problems here to America. And when we don't want to accept their problems, then they're complaining. And the system that we have that's not working properly allows them to come into our country and complain. Tell you what, you're an American citizen. Go across the border into Mexico and cause some of the problems that are the illegals from Mexico are causing here and see what happens to you. Take a plane trip over to Saudi Arabia or Turkey or some of these other countries that we hear about where ISIS is or where Islam is big. Go over there and do some of the problems and cause some of the problems that are being caused here by those who are showing up here. Find out what happens. You see, these things don't fly in other countries. It only flies here in America. Other countries don't accept this kind of behavior. But here in America, under the guise of diversity, this is crazy, you know? If we don't have a country and don't understand who and what our country's about, then it's nothing. Then this beautiful example of America goes away. And I don't think any of us want this. But as long as we continue to allow leaders who are corrupt, trying to tear our country down, then we got a problem. And that's the problem right now, my friends. The leaders in power are tearing us apart. The people need to stand up and rise up against it. First thing we have to do is start showing up, speaking up, acting up, getting ourselves and our voices out there. Good things happen when bad people say and do, or bad things happen when good people say and do nothing. Good things happen when good people say things. When people speak up, things start to change. We need to speak up, my friends. We need to speak up. I know I'm saying and repeating the same thing over and over, but that's what needs to happen. It's so simple. What keeps people from speaking up? Fear. So rise above the fear, my friends. Rise above the things that are causing you distress so that you can be in the world living in the freedom that you want and with the freedoms that you want. All right, here's a message for today from the angels. Here we go.
The Angels.
April 9th, 2016, by Ann Albers.
The Angels.
My dear friends, we love you so very much. Don't sabotage your dreams by doubting, becoming impatient, and losing faith. If you grew a garden, you would plant the seeds, water them faithfully, weed them, and trust in their ultimate ripening. You would not dig them up in frustration, stop watering the garden, or allow the weeds to grow. Think of your dreams like those seeds. They are planted in your heart. Water them with your love and good thoughts. Weed out negative beliefs. And then trust that your dreams, like those seeds, will ripen to fullness in your own lives. You are not subject to the whims of a God outside of yourself, dear ones. The love that creates universes lives inside of you, and indeed in all of creation. When you intend with clarity and an internal commitment, you send an energetic ripple into the universe, one that will ultimately create its reflection back in your life. Your fear-based thoughts create weak ripples, and your thoughts rooted in love create strong ones. You do not pray with your lips and your words, but rather with every breath you breathe, with every action you take, and ultimately, dear ones, with your energetic vibration. So you may be praying, God, deliver unto me the perfect relationship, but if your energy exists in fear, you will not have one, or doubt that you can have one, or defensiveness against one, then dear friends, your prayers are weakened. If however you pray with confidence, courage, and commitment, expecting the best, trusting in the ultimate love and goodness of the universe, loving yourself enough to know you are a cell in the body of the divine, worthy of all that resides in your heart, then dear ones, your prayers are strong. Try this week to pray one prayer with complete courage, confidence, and commitment. Pray as if you know the universe will deliver. Before you go to bed, ask your angels to remove your fears, your blocks, your hesitations anything that would weaken the integrity of your prayers. Watch what transpires. God bless you. We love you so very much. The angels.
All right, good message. You know, it's very important, the process of manifestation, that we believe. This whole idea of faith, it's a very challenging idea. We've heard about faith for a long time. And I contend that even though faith is dealing with a particular idea of belief, it's not so much that we have faith in God, because God always comes through. It's not that God is the thing that we need to have faith in, but we have to have faith in our ability as a being in this skin suit to allow that spirit to flow through us. So we have to have faith in ourselves, faith that we can allow this spirit to flow through. Believing that God, having faith in God, you know, that seems to be almost backwards. You know, don't you think? Having faith in that God's going to do what God's going to do, that's kind of silly. The weak link is us, because we don't bring it through. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So the flesh, this vehicle, this is where the faith has to reside. Our faith in ourselves, in our ability to bring forth that divinity which was in us, that is in us, that is what, in my opinion, is the real faithfulness we need to come to understand. Brings us to our meditation for today. So close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Take another breath. And exhale again. And another breath. And exhale. Now let's imagine ourselves walking along a path. And as we walk along that path, we understand through observing around us that it is dark. And as we walk along the path in the darkness, we contemplate the idea of God, Spirit that flows through us. And we understand in this contemplation that Spirit brings light. And with this light, things become illuminated. And as we think about this, we realize that this light exists with or without us. And therefore, believing that this light exists is not the challenge, but rather our ability to bring this light through us. And so we contemplate the idea of faith, and we realize that we, by exercising faith, allow the divinity to flow through us. So we have faith in our ability to shine the light. And as we do, we shine this light even brighter. And as the light shines through, and we understand that we are able to have the faith required to bring this light into existence through us, we shine it even brighter. And so as we go forth this weekend, let us just explore the ideas of faith. Let us look at faith not as something that we need to believe in outside of ourselves, but as that which we possess already, and we simply need to believe in our ability to bring it forth. Heavenly Father, Heavenly Mother, Divine Christ, thank you for blessing our lives with the opportunities of this day. Thank you for filling our lives with the abundance of your Spirit that flows through us. Thank you for the emanations of your love, light, of your truth. Thank you for all of these blessings. May they continue to spread throughout this world, that we may find the peacefulness and the path that you have outlined before us. So let's let the subconscious mind continue on the journey of faith, exploring our faith. And let's bring the conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another breath. Exhale. And open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That is it for today. Thank you so much for being here. Have an awesome week, and just remember, work on your faith. Faith is your and our ability to bring forth that which is already within us. The Spirit already exists. We don't have to have faith that it exists. It exists. We have to have the faith to bring it forth, to allow it to shine. So let's be faithful this weekend, my friends. Let's go out and shine forth that which is within us. Let's be faithful and strengthen that faith even more. I'll be back next week. Till then, have an awesome weekend. I love you. Keep loving each other, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.